When Meghan Markle appeared on the Graham Norton show, no one expected the moment to unravel the way it did. She entered the set to warm applause, poised as ever, wearing a soft beige dress and a calm smile that hid the whirlwind of controversies she's carried for years. For many watching at home, this was supposed to be Meghan's reintroduction to the British public, a chance to reconnect, explain, maybe even heal. Graham Norton, known for his humor and charm, seemed the perfect host for such a delicate reunion. But as the cameras rolled and the dialogue progressed, what began as a light-hearted segment spiraled into an intense exchange that stunned the live audience and left Meghan visibly emotional. By the time the segment ended, tears had fallen. The atmosphere had shifted entirely, and the world was left buzzing with disbelief at the confrontation that unfolded live on air. The conversation began innocently enough. Graham, with his trademark grin, complimented Meghan on her recent projects, asked about California life with Prince Harry, and cracked a few light jokes that earned genuine laughs from her. She spoke of her kids, her advocacy for mental health, in her hopes to build bridges with the British public. But then Graham's tone subtly changed. "You've talked about healing and reclaiming your story," he said, leaning forward. "But do you feel you've done that in a way that brought people together, or pushed them away?" Slightly taken aback, but responded calmly, "We've tried to be honest. When people understand the truth, healing begins," Graham pressed. "But do you understand that too many? It felt like betrayal? Walking away from the monarchy, airing grievances publicly, it created division." The air tightened in the studio. Meghan's eyes flickered with discomfort. Speaking the truth isn't betrayal. Silence was more dangerous. That response seemed to trigger something. Graham didn't flinch. "You've said silence equaled suffering. But was breaking that silence always done in good faith, or was it sometimes strategic?" Meghan's smile thinned. "I was trying to survive. People think I'm strategic for surviving, so be it," Graham replied. "But you didn't just survive, Meghan. You published a book, produced a documentary, and sat down for it globally. Watched Interview with Oprah. That's more than survival. It's curation." The words hung in the air like smoke. Meghan blinked. Curation? Or finally being heard after years of being misrepresented? Graham tilted his head. "Is it being heard, or controlling the narrative?" Meghan's expression stiffened. "I'm not here to control anything. I'm here to speak for myself because others haven't always done so truthfully." The tension in the audience became palpable. Something real and raw was now playing out on a stage built for laughter. Graham shifted in his seat. Now more interviewer than entertainer. "You often say you weren't protected, but you were in one of the most historically protective institutions. In the world, the monarchy." Meghan inhaled slowly. "Protected in name only. When the tabloids attacked me daily, I asked for help. I was told it would pass. It didn't," Graham responded. "But what about the family? You believe they did their best with what they knew?" Meghan's tone cooled. "Doing your best doesn't mean it was enough. They knew what was happening." Graham then asked the question many were thinking, "Do you regret any part of how you handled it?" Meghan was silent for a moment. "I regret that it had to happen publicly, but I don't regret standing up for myself." It was clear now this wasn't going to be the gentle, glossy interview some expected. This was turning into a full-on reckoning. Trying to ease the tension, Graham smiled lightly. "There's always two sides to a story. Some would argue the monarchy couldn't defend itself against your public allegations." Meghan leaned forward. "That's the privilege of an institution. It doesn't have to explain itself. But I didn't have that privilege. I had to defend myself or be swallowed whole by the press." Graham asked, "Do you think there was a way to do it without alienating so many?" Her voice softened. "I tried. But when you're drowning, you don't ask how you look when reaching for air." The metaphor struck a chord. Some audience members murmured in agreement. Graham paused, then posed a final sharp-edged question. "Some say your tears are rehearsed, that you've weaponized emotion. What do you say to them?" That was the tipping point. Meghan looked at him, wounded. "Would you ask that of a man?" she whispered, blinking back tears. Or is it just easier to believe a woman is acting? Asterisk, there was a long silence. For a show that thrives on quick wit and fast edits, this moment lingered painfully long. Meghan swallowed, visibly shaken. I've cried alone. In bathrooms, in cars, in hotel rooms. Not once did anyone ask if I was okay until it became a scandal. If people think that's a performance, they've never felt truly voiceless. Her voice cracked on the last word. Graham finally looked uneasy, perhaps realizing the emotional impact of the conversation. The camera cut to the audience. Many were stunned, a few visibly emotional. Meghan took a tissue from her lap, dabbed her eyes, and smiled through the pain. You asked for honesty. That's all I've ever offered. The crowd gave a hesitant round of applause. Graham, now somber, offered, I didn't mean to hurt you, Meghan replied. Intentions and impact don't always align. But thank you. The damage, though, had already been done. Asterisk, as the segment ended, Meghan excused herself and was escorted off stage by her team. The rest of the show struggled to regain its usual tone. The energy had shifted permanently. That clipped Meghan's trembling voice. Her confrontation with the idea of weaponized emotion and her quiet exit was uploaded to social media within minutes. It went viral within the hour. TikTok flooded with edits, reactions, and hashtags. Like hashtag Meghan tears, hashtag Norton clash, and hashtag silenced no more. Fans rushed to defend her. Critics dissected her body language. Some praised Graham for being the only one willing to ask the hard questions. Others accused him of ambushing a woman. Under the guise of comedy, the cultural divide played out once again, now centered around a late-night talk show that was never meant to become a battlefield. Asterisk the next day. Headlines blared, Meghan Markle breaks down on Graham Norton, emotional wreck or emotional strength. British host leaves Duchess shattered on air. Every outlet had its spin. Piers Morgan tweeted sarcastically, Bravo Graham, welcome to the grown-ups table. Others slammed his cruelty. Meghan's team issued a short statement. The Duchess appeared in good faith. The emotional impact of the conversation speaks for itself. Graham Norton remained mostly silent, except for a single sentence at the start of his next show. Sometimes, the conversation takes us where we didn't plan to go. It was brief, vague, and left audiences feeling he wasn't ready to confront the backlash or the woman he'd left in tears. Asterisk, over the next week. Cultural critics, feminists, and psychologists all weighed in. Discussions about emotional expression, media responsibility, and the fine line between tough questions and televised cruelty took center stage. Meghan's moment on the Graham Norton show was replayed, reinterpreted, and re-examined across every platform. But beneath the noise, one truth emerged. People were hungry not just for gossip or controversy, but for authenticity. Shown vulnerability, and while not everyone agreed with her choices, many recognized her pain as real. The clash with Graham became symbolic of something larger, the impossible expectations placed on public women, especially women of color, especially those who break tradition and speak their truth. Asterisk in the end. Meghan's tears became more than just a headline. They became a mirror, a reflection of a world that demands vulnerability but punishes it, that asks women to open their hearts but mocks them when they bleed. Graham's confrontation may have left Meghan shaken, but it also gave her a platform to reclaim her unfiltered, unpolished, and unforgettable. Whether you saw strength or fragility in that moment, it was undeniably real. And in an age of curated perfection, that reality was as jarring as it was necessary. Meghan walked into that studio a media figure. She walked out a symbol. And Graham, known for laughter, was forced to reckon with the power of tears.